Hello. In this presentation, I'm going to briefly talk about how we could take exit tickets to our online and asynchronous classes as seamlessly as we were using exit tickets in our face-to-face classes. Exit tickets are a very versatile tool. They can be used one day as a formative assessment of what students know. You could choose to quizzing on the learning objectives or what they learned, what they're stuck on, but it can also be used on another second day as check-in to how the students are feeling regarding learnings, whether students understand the material they're learning, or if they're struggling, if they're having any issues that may be impeding their learning in class. So exit tickets provide feedback to the teacher about the class. They require students to do some synthesis of the content. They challenge the student with a question requiring some application of what was learned in the lesson. But more importantly, they also do lead to community building. The student feels like my teacher does care, and they can also if it's done in a face-to-face setting and they're sharing those exit tickets, do lead to some community building. There was an article in Educational Leadership by Robert Marzano, which explains that there are 4 kinds of prompts teachers often use with exit slips. Prompts that provide formative assessment data. How would you rate your current level of understanding of what we did today? Stimulate student analysis. How hard did you work today? What could you have done to help yourself learn better? Focus on instructional strategies. How did the group work today help you understand the content? What could you have done to help yourself learn better? And also stimulate open communications with the teacher. What could I do differently to help you understand your concepts better? So these are 4 different broad general categories of prompts, and exit tickets can use them quite frequently. 3-to-1 exit ticket is a strategy that is a specific style of exit ticket that generally goes for 3 things that students may have learned today, 2 things they liked, and 1 question they still have about the lesson. Students basically write 3 of something, 2 of something, and 1 of something. So 3 takeaways, 2 questions, and 1 thing that you enjoyed, or 3 ideas, 2 examples, 1 resolved area. Now you're not stuck to 3-2-1, but it's a good way of that I like to talk to my students about it. And I'll say, let's take 3 minutes to write 2 ideas, 1 that you got, that 1 you didn't, and then let's focus on 1 thing that we could work on together. So the 3 could just be minutes that you're spending as class on it too. Exit tickets don't necessarily have to be very high stakes, and often in my classes, they used to be for participation credit. But as I moved to asynchronous and online settings, I did start awarding some points for them. Some exit tickets have small stake points, and some exit tickets have big. We can use a variety of ways to bring exit tickets to an online platform. We could use Google Forms, Poll Everywhere, Zoom polling, Socrative, other surveying methods. You can link these in the Canvas modules. You can, if you're on an online class, you can throw it in the chat room during Zoom lectures. You can send it through email. You can generate QR codes that can be shared with your students. These surveying methods are quite good, quite robust, and provide a lot of information. However, for me, a big thing is that it's not native to Canvas at CU Boulder. And I don't really want to be sending students and myself outside of Canvas to provide and get this information. I want to keep as much as I can of the work in Canvas. So I want my exit tickets to be integrated into the Canvas website. And I definitely want to be able to use SpeedGrader. SpeedGrader allows me to use rubrics. It tracks my workloads. It tells me when a submission has been made, and it allows me to give feedback to the students in Canvas that they can access. This also keeps my feedback private, that it's not shared with anyone else aside from the instructor and the student. So I prefer exit tickets that are housed in Canvas. And we can do, again, a lot of activities in Canvas that allow us to do this. We can use the quick check in, when you're building out our modules and our notes, and if you can use quick check kind of activities. You can use Play Posit, you can use Flipgrid, you can use Qualtrics. All these are linked to C Boulder Canvas, and they actually load into Canvas. However, as much as I like Flipgrid and I like Play Posit, for students to give me that kind of visual feedback and for me to go through all that audiovisual feedback every single week does become a lot of work. So for my grading purposes, I try to keep things a little simpler than using Flipgrid. Discussion boards are a good place for us to house exit tickets, but they're not private. So discussion boards are a great way to have group-based exit tickets or feedback activities. One can use quizzes. Quizzes, unfortunately, do really well for auto-grade type questions or multiple choice or drop-down menu kind of questions. But if you're asking them to turn in text, it's visually unappealing to the students. So the compromise that I came up with was to use Google Doc integration into Canvas. It has very few limitations in the type of questions I want to ask. It has individualized responses to an assignment. I just need to create that assignment once, house it in my Google Drive, and link it to all the different courses that I may be teaching, or even multiple times in the same course, and it generates a new assignment activity every time I do it. So the investment for me is low, while the rewards are quite rich. So how do I use exit tickets in the Google Workspace process? So if you're at CU Boulder, we can access Google Workspace using your identity key and CU login name. So you log into your Google Workspace provided by CU, you create your assignment, and I can show you a sample of my 3-to-1 assignment that's quite complex. But basically what you are doing at any given point is that you just log into your Google Drive. And once you log into Google Drive through University of Colorado, you can create a new folder, or you can do whatever, and you can choose new, whether you want a Google Doc or a sheet or a slide or a form. I prefer slides. Forms is quite new this summer, so I'm really excited about it. And it'd be interesting to experiment with it. But what I have used in the past is Google Slides. So here's an example of my example of a complex 3-to-1 ticket that I would share with my students. I've also used it to create flashcards with my students. So I could say, hey, dump 3 things: a combination or solely definitions, graphs, equations that you think are important for this topic. You can add text, you can take screenshots, you can just write, draw, add. You can even embed videos if you wanted to. I've never had a student take me up on that offer of embedding videos, but they do. They prefer to take screenshots and embed them, and that works out really well. So most of the time they take screenshots from modules, notes, or text themselves and annotate them and stick them in there. And the purpose of this activity is for them basically to feel like they're contributing a note card of stuff that is important to them. And then the second slide looks like this, where there's like 3 things I learned today, 1, 2, 3, and they'll take 3 screenshots and put them up there, and they can annotate them saying, I really like this, or I struggled with this concept, but I get it, or, hey, could we talk about this more? They can duplicate these pages, and they can even turn in more information if they wanted to. But this is something that worked out really well. We tried this where they turned in flashcards that I collated for them with their permission, and we had like a nice deck of flashcards that the students could use as reviews for the midterm. Here's a slightly simpler, exit ticket that I use. And once I create this assignment, I just link it up multiple times in every module. And this would be just like maybe a 2-point exercise where to say, how well did we do this module on the notes? Take 3 minutes and just tell me. You can just tell me if you're a bit confused, you get it. And if you're confused, take a screenshot of the area that's tripping you. up and stick it right here, or describe how you're feeling. Just tell me exactly where. And if you're comfortable, you can take a screenshot of the area you're explaining. I encourage them to sometimes just like, put an emoji or a GIF, whatever they want to turn it in here. There's multiple exercises that we do. So if they skip one, it's okay, because I'd end up dropping a bunch of exit tickets. But they have worked out really well in the last semester for me to get this information from my students. And like I said, once I create this exercise one time, it can be dropped into multiple classes on Canvas for me. And SpeedGrader maintains that individuality for me. So how would I put it on Canvas? Well, I would go into Canvas using a two-step process. So like I said, the first step was make sure you are logged into your Google account provided by CU if you're at CU Boulder. It does, accessing your Google Drive does not override any Outlook settings. So if you have checking mail Outlook, you are okay using Google Drive. That was definitely a concern for me, but they're separate and safe, right? So the second step then is on Canvas, you need to make sure that you have enabled Google Apps LTI. And for that, you need to go to Settings, Navigation for your course, and make sure Google Apps is enabled in the column. And the second thing that you do is that once you create a new Canvas assignment, you make sure that in your submission type, you select external tools. So that's how you would take exit tickets online, not just the 3-to-1s, but any kinds that you would like. I have been super excited about this. And as we have more integrations, maybe forms and Jamboards, it would be a great community building exercise for us to go forward.